Alright guys, focus. That's what we're talking about today. There's a new system out for the Pathfinder playtest. Resonance has been called into question, and so the mighty Paizo gods themselves have handed us down a brand new system to talk about, play with, break wide open, and in general, make sure the meta is balanced and fun for everyone. So dig in, we've got a lot to talk about. But before you do that, like and subscribe for more content, helps out so much. And today, this episode of your Pathfinder playtest coverage was brought to you in part by Mr. Joseph Harvilla, a House Divided's GM and probably my oldest friend on planet Earth. Joe, thank you so much for riding this crazy ride with me, literally 120%. I could not do it without you. Now, let's talk about a new set of rules, shall we? Alright, so first off, probably my favorite thing about this playtest is that the devs are very on top of what you and I have to say about the playtest, what we're liking, what we're hating, and they're feeding us new content to test around to make sure that both the universe is fair and balanced, and we all, as players, are happy. According to Paizo's blog, the Resonance test, lots of people are saying that it doesn't make sense for potions to cost resonance points. 55% of people that have filled out their surveys have said that while it makes sense that other items cost resonance, again, it doesn't make sense for potions. With 26 of us saying it doesn't make sense that anything costs resonance. Anywho, haven't done this one in a long time. Quote, the main set of questions we asked about resonance showed us pretty strongly that resonance as printed was highly unpopular. Few people thought characters had the right number of points, there was too much tracking, the rules on overspending weren't engaging, and only about 20% of responders thought that the system was a clear improvement over 1E. When introducing a new system, it's especially important that the system be seen as a clear improvement, or it's not pulling its weight. However, not all of Resonance's feedback was negative. The rules have good ratings on being easy to understand, and there was a strong support, both in surveys and in forum posts, for Resonance as a way to make it easier to track multiple use items. Paizo has also seen solid support for a more flexible system of worn items compared to 1E's item slots, so the new iteration of the Resonance system is looking to expand on those few elements that were liked, while reducing the elements that feel like burdens. And frankly, I think I can understand why most players feel that Resonance is a burden. Myself, personally, I really like playing games where individual things, resources anywhere from how much food I have to eat in a day to how many grappling hooks I've bought before I left town. Seriously, you can ask my girlfriend. As super prepped as she was to have a very straightforward path through a swamp, please believe my character purchased 10 grappling hooks before we left because, you know, something could sunder them and we might need more. It's important. Of course, however, that's not everyone's game. Not everyone likes to track a bunch of stuff. Not everyone enjoys that. Some of us like to just sit down and throw dice around and stuff. And frankly, we need a system that works for both parties. Of course, Resonance, as we see it in the playtest, totally works as something along the lines of like a low magic alternate rule set. But if it's not working for the whole, then it's not working, right? Especially right now. It's such a crucial time where the full game's not even out yet. Anywho, to address any big fears that you guys out there in the world might have, the new Resonance system is being tested in its own independent bubble, the adventure Raiders of Shrieking Peak. You PFS guys might recognize that adventure as the same as the pre-existing one, and of course either can be run in PFS for credit, but the Resonance test file contains the rules for the new system we want to try, design notes on intent, new versions of items, pre-gens to use in the adventure, and a short section with a few thematic adjustments you need to make the adventure and items appear there. So if you're Doomsday Dawning, not necessarily a thing. If you're running your own independent game, not necessarily a thing. But, you know, actually, if you want to try these out, if you want to take a look over these rules, in the description below, I'll leave a thing that we can all get at so you guys can download them and we can, you know, again, tear this playtest a new one. Anywho, moving forward, quote, as we said from the outset, the Resonance points system in the playtest rulebook was highly experimental, and it was clear that the experiment had failed. Jason quite correctly pointed out that we needed to show where our line of thinking is going in the wake of this and solicit additional feedback. Telling everyone to wait for the final rules isn't enough, and again, frankly, I can't agree with that any more. That's amazing. Literally, as they think it, we have it in our hands, so our voice as well can be heard in our game. Amazing. The new experiment takes what we've learned from play and the surveys and takes a crack at something we think is more interesting and flexible. Much of what the blog is about to say, and what we're about to say as well, is replicated in the document, but of course we're still going to cover it here. First big change, resonance points will still appear in the document, but instead of it being something spent on every single solitary thing, resonance points now is just tracking your capacity to wear items. In and of itself, the point value for resonance is changing as well. You get a flat 10 at first level, you have a flat 10 at 20th level. If for some reason you have way more time on your hands, frankly, than I do, and you get to 10 billionth level, you have 10. The reason behind this is because resonance being used just for worn items, of course, the number needs to be chopped down because they want to discourage somebody rolling in, again, in a world where you can wear however many magical amulets your heart desires, just, breaking their neck with amulets for value. For most characters, of course, 10 worn items is plenty. To be honest with you, I don't think even in first edition I ever tracked 10 worn items at once. Maybe the cloak of resistance was too fire and forget. Anywho. Now, of course, as we know, resonance is used for activating magic items, using potions that weren't made by our friendly neighborhood alchemists, etc. Now, these are being changed to be called focus points. Quote, "This new pool unites two similar concepts. The extra spells you could cast via spell points, and the extra energy you could put into magic items to get more out of them. Unlike spell points, all characters have focus points, and your number per day is equal to your charisma mod plus 1 or 2, depending on your ancestry. You can spend a focus point to cast a power, so like a cleric's domain power, a sorcerer's bloodline power, tempest surge, etc., or you can spend a focus point when activating an item to buff it. First off, now you can activate bracers of missile deflection once per day, spending nothing, but pop a focus point and you can activate it again. Also, a healing potion doubles its healing. Yeah, that's nuts. Potions are 20 times 2 when you want them to be. Invisibility potions will last for 1d4 rounds without spending focus. Spend focus. It's 10 minutes of invisibility. Also, Alchemist Fire is going to have a bigger splash. Not, a bigger bang or a bigger boom or anything like that. Literally just splash. Anyway, bad joke. Moving forward. The pool of focus points, to quote Paizo, doesn't grow as huge as the resonance pool did because your level is not added to it, and unlike spell points, you don't get more points when you take new powers. The goal here is to make each use of focus exciting and interesting. When someone spends a focus point, they want a capital M moment, or, the Alchemist Fire turning into a fireball. If you guys want to see what this looks like in practice, in addition to a crap ton of item, not necessarily errata, but alternate rules. Seriously, it's a 15-page PDF. Valeros, Seoni, Kyra, and Mariziel appear in this PDF, and they're here for you to take out, run around with, test out the new meta, and again, see if this is what we want our Pathfinder 2nd edition to look like. Now, before we talk about the long-term effects of this, there's a couple of concerns Paizo wants to talk about, and of course, those are my first questions too. Right now, I'm playing a Gestalt Druid Sorcerer over at Tale of the Greenwich Colonies. We're releasing the sessions a little slower, by the way, doing prologues. If you want to watch on Twitch tonight from 6 to 9, give or take Central Time, you can watch us do session 2, where there's combat and stuff. But if I was just a druid, my charisma would probably be bad. I'd be wisdom-based, so I'm bad at focus. Though nothing is really ironed out yet, the blog does point out that a wizard might get points from arcane focus, a key-using monk might meditate, etc., etc. And also, of course, since it's so easy to increase your ability scores in this game, it's not bad for a wizard or a monk who wants to benefit from these powers to increase their charisma level. Paizo also notes that items will be weakened to make room for this new system. For example, you probably noticed The invisibility potion is much shorter now. This, again, is just a balance thing. We'll have less points with focus than we do with resonance, etc. You guys get the idea. Now, the next thing that's important to know, everyone, is that this does not affect Doomsday Dawn, unless I guess you want it to, though it might be a little difficult. This does not affect your homebrew, again, unless you want it to, because logistically, it's real hard to overhaul a game over the course of a playtest. Paizo says that they might put out more samples or previews of the direction they think they're going to head, and maybe guidelines to adapt the system, but we will not be seeing a total rewrite of what's in the playtest rulebook until the playtest is complete. Paizo also notes that even if the test goes amazing, the new focus rules may not be 100% correct. There's obviously a lot of minor changes, everything from wands to potions and back again, that when we're rewriting how magic items work would get changed in this process. Again, I really think that's super amazing that Paizo's staying on top of what you and I have to say and making sure that they're putting out a product that we'll love. And of course, as we see more of this information, you can find it here on Black Dragon Gaming. And that is, in fact, what we have for today. Now, of course, several of the classes are changing, but the change isn't a change that's happening incredibly fast or that's going to hit a lot of games. I definitely woke up Saturday morning after going to bed at, honestly, like 7 a.m., getting our Alchemist optimization video done to see that the whole resonance thing was being scrapped. And my first thought was, oh, cool, everything's bad. We're here to say now that that Alchemist still works in the playtest with resonance, though again, the system that the class gets in the focus system or whatever final system comes down is still going to be better off than the average human commoner who happens to know how to make an alchemy. Again, if you guys want to check out some of the changes, it's in the description, 2 links to the Dropbox. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll be here every Tuesday and Saturday putting out sweet content for you. Oh, by the way, this Saturday is another episode of Min-Maxing for Fun and Profit, where we're going to build around the animal companion. We'll see you then.